Hey, fifth graders, it's Mrs. Seals back for our next science lab and our first science lab of 2021. I hope everybody had a great break. We are going to be talking about fossils today. and this is going to be short and sweet because the kids that are in class are going to be doing a mystery science activity, which unfortunately I cannot record and post here since I did not create it. That would be a copyright issue. So I'm not able to, post their video and their activity here on YouTube. But that's okay. I'm going to sum it up the best I can. All right. So your target says I can identify fossils as evidence of past living organisms and the nature of the environments at the time using models. So a fossil is an impression, track, remain, or other evidence of an ancient organism formed in sedimentary rocks. And in the next couple weeks, we'll be learning more about sedimentary rocks. And there's a lot of misconceptions about fossils. A lot of people think that when you find a fossil, you're finding the actual, dead organism. Um, but that's not the case. These are things that were alive, tens or hundreds of millions of years ago. So they well, we'll go into more in a minute. It's not the actual organism is the important part. It's usually a footprint or a track or an imprint or something left behind or something like that. And it's important also to know that fossils can be of plants or animals. A lot of times people think they can just be animals or insects, but plants can make fossils as well. So fossils are formed in several different ways, but the most common way is when the plant or animal dies, it gets buried under mud and silt. And what happens is the mud and silt compress it and squeeze it very, very tight. And this causes the soft tissue, that means like the fat, the muscle, the skin, things like that, to decompose, and it leaves behind the hard bones or shells or teeth or nails or claws. And over time, the sediment builds over the top and causes it to harden into rock. So this might make a little bit more sense after we talk about sedimentary rocks in the next couple of weeks. But sedimentary rocks are formed when layers of sediment pile on top of each other and compress down. And then when they get wet from the rain or other moisture, they kind of act like the minerals kind of act like a sticky glue and cause all the sediment to harden together. So the important thing to know is that whether you're talking about sedimentary rock formation or fossil formation, this is not an overnight change. This is not a quick change. These are things that take many, many millions of years to happen. Okay. And then there's a fossil called a trace fossil, and that's formed by organisms performing the functions of their everyday life, such as walking, crawling, burrowing, boring. Is that supposed to say boring? Yeah. Or feeding. Tetrapod footprints, worm trails, and the burrows made by clams and arthropods are all trace fossils. So this would be like when you see a fossil of like a footprint or the path that a worm took or something like that. These are trace fossils. Also, if you see like a leaf, that would also be considered a trace fossil because it made like an imprint in the sediment and then decomposed, and the imprint got hardened by the sedimentary rock. So we can learn a lot from fossils. There's scientists who study fossils, and that's how we know so much about dinosaurs. That's how we know so much about what the earth used to be like hundreds of millions of years ago, because fossils can tell us what the environment was like, whether it was saltwater or freshwater, or if it was land. For example, we know that hundreds of millions of years ago, most of where most of Texas, where we live, was actually covered by ocean water. And the way that scientists have figured that out is you can find lots of shell fossils in this area. You may have even found some yourself. If you go for a hike anywhere kind of around here or out into nature, you will probably find some shell fossils or imprints. Because, like I said, hundreds of millions of years ago, this part of Earth was covered by ocean water. So they can tell us about the environments. They can also tell us about the animal, things like what it ate, where it lived, what its body was like. And that's the mystery science activity that the in-class kids are going to be doing. Actually goes into that. They're going to be looking at some different fossils from dinosaurs, their skull, some fossils of their skulls, their teeth, and things like that, and learning how we can tell lots of things about dinosaurs based on fossils that have been found, such as what they ate, what type of area they lived in, what their body shape was like, all of that stuff. So anyways, fossils are super fun. Fossils are super interesting. I hope that you enjoyed learning about fossils, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.